The best player in baseball, Shohei Ohtani, is a LA Dodger. He was paid a record-breaking $700 million over the course of 10 seasons. The Dodgers have had their eye on Shohei Ohtani for many years now. When Ohtani was a freshman in high school, the Dodgers were actually already scouting him. He could throw 100 miles an hour, which is, by the way, something no one else could do in high school. After high school, MLB teams offered him contracts, and that includes the Dodgers, but he chose to stay in Japan. Quickly, the name he built for himself was the next Babe Ruth. He could hit, he could pitch, he could do it all. MLB teams were all over this guy, and after a few years of playing in Japan, he became a free agent. This time, he was going to be signing with an MLB team, and it was very likely that he went to LA that year. And he did. But it was not the Dodgers. Instead, he went across town and played with the Angels down there in Anaheim. Trout was the best player in baseball. Him and Ohtani were supposed to make this team win more games than you could possibly imagine. But unfortunately, the Angels just never ever built around the two. So the day that Shohei hit free agency, he wanted to leave immediately. Every team wanted Shohei because, I mean, who wouldn't quite literally? Since 2017, he's won Rookie of the Year and he's won 2 MVPs. This guy is consistently pitching at a very high level and is hitting like the best player on the planet, not just in baseball, but literally on the planet. Automatically, he's a game changer for any team, and by signing Shohei, you also get the benefit of having a really good attendance. Japanese fans literally travel to the US just to go and watch Shohei Ohtani. The Angels were a very subpar team, but they always had great attendance numbers, and that's because they had Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout. The Dodgers are not that far away from Anaheim, and the Dodgers have had the best attendance in baseball for quite a while now. 2023, they were number 1 in baseball, but they knew by signing Ohtani that every single game will be sold out. They've been planning Ohtani's free agency for multiple offseasons, so if you're confused, how in the world did he get $700 million? Well, it's because the Dodgers have been planning on doing that for many years. They made little to no moves last offseason, and that is exactly why. It's because they were planning on making this huge move with Ohtani. Now, let's rewind a little bit, right? Let's go back 3 years ago to 2020. The Dodgers had a great roster, but they needed to get better. They needed a superstar. Boston had Mookie Betts in the trade market, a generational outfielder with elite defense, and young outfielder Alex Verdugo, star prospect Jeter Downs, and prospect Connor Wong. 2 of those guys, with Verdugo and Wong, ended up just being mid, and Jeter Downs was a complete bust. The Dodgers got an absolute steal when they added Mookie Betts for practically nothing, but they did have to extend him a lot of money, as his contract was expiring. Immediately, as soon as he got there, they gave him 12 years, $365 million. The Dodgers were more than committed to build a World Series winning team. In 2020, they won the World Series exactly like how they wanted to, but it was also considered a Mickey Mouse World Series. It was called that because it was, of course, the COVID year, where they only got to play 60 games. But in 2021, the Dodgers were only going to be getting better. They gave Trevor Bauer 3 years, $102 million in the rotation. That alone was a great move, but it just kept on happening. At the trade deadline, they wanted to get better, and they brought in 2 superstars from the Nationals. Those players were star shortstop Trey Turner and superstar pitcher Max Scherzer. They won 106 games that year, and of course they lost to the Braves in the playoffs because why wouldn't they? But unfortunately, Max Scherzer was going to be leaving the pitching staff and signing with the Mets. Although they did make a pretty big offseason move, it was not a pitcher. They instead went ahead and added a big guy to the lineup, Freddie Freeman. Freeman was supposed to be a Brave for life, at least that's what many thought he would be, but the Dodgers, as usual, gave him a huge contract. That contract was 6 years, $162 million. If there's one thing that we know with the Dodgers, it's that they always fail to win in the postseason, and again, in 2022, they were eliminated. As much as it sucked that they were never able to win the postseason, Dodgers fans were at least very happy that they got a superstar every single offseason. But in the 2022 offseason, it just didn't happen, and that's because they were saving money for Shohei Ohtani. The Dodgers have not been afraid to spend money, that much is clear. But you have to understand, the Dodgers haven't just spent money for a good lineup. They've built their team with prospects who have come up through the years, like Will Smith, like Buehler, like Kershaw, Bobby Miller, and many more. The Dodgers know how to build a team, that much is clear. The part that they haven't been able to do is win. They've made the playoffs every year since 2013. They're consistently the best regular season team, but they've only won 1 World Series. Signing Shohei is clearly the thing that they believe can get them over that hump. Ohtani is an unbelievable player on literally every level that a player can be. He's never had an opportunity to play in the playoffs with the Angels, so the biggest question is what type of a player will he be in the playoffs with the Dodgers? You know that they're going to be in the playoffs pretty much every single year he's on that team. So how will he play in the playoffs? Well, look at his World Baseball Classic. He was very, very good on Team Japan. They ended up winning it all, and they could not have done it without Ohtani. I think this is going to end up translating into a great player in the MLB postseason. Signing Shohei Ohtani is the best thing that the Dodgers could have possibly done. Their lineup has 3 of the best players in baseball. Let's not forget that Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman were both MVP candidates last season. Betts played Gold Glove caliber defense in right field and second base. He also had a .307 batting average with 39 home runs. If Acuna didn't go off last year, Mookie would have won the MVP. Now, of course, the runner-up for Mookie was Freddie Freeman. He had arguably the best season of his career. It's hard to beat a .331 batting average and 29 home runs. This big 3 will break baseball on every spectrum. Oh, and by the way, Ohtani won the AL MVP last year, just to go ahead and make it even better. What's insane is that the Dodgers might not even be done yet in free agency. Kershaw will almost certainly re-sign, but there is also another free agent that the Dodgers are in on, and that free agent is Yamamoto, the best free agent pitcher on the market, and it is guaranteed that he will be getting at least $200 million. The Dodgers landing these two would literally mean that they had the best offseason that any team possibly could. Keep in mind that Ohtani's contract is bigger than his former teammates, Mike Trout. Ohtani is making $70 million a year, $5.8 million per month, $191K per day, and $7.9K per hour. This contract is actually unreal. But what's even crazier is that this is LA, so he's being taxed at a very high rate. You get taxed to death in California more than anywhere else. After taxes, his $70 million a year goes down to $34 million a year. California is making more money than Shohei Ohtani off of this contract. Talk about insanity. What's also insane is that $70 million per year is a lot, obviously. Ohtani's yearly salary is bigger than these teams' entire payroll. The Orioles, A's, Reds, Pirates, Royals, Guardians, Brewers, Marlins. When you have a singular player outweighing those teams' entire payroll, it's obvious that you have a salary issue. Owners are not spending enough money, and it's baseball's biggest problem. A salary floor would fix the problem of owners not spending. How in the world are small markets, by the way, supposed to even contend with this? It's simply unfair no matter how you look at this. Ohtani is now going to be richer than 3 MLB owners, the Marlins, D-backs, and Reds owner. It is unreal to think that after Ohtani retires, he could technically buy an MLB team someday. And is anyone going to be talking about Dave Roberts, of course the Dodgers manager? The news on Ohtani was that he did not want any news regarding his offseason to be public. He wanted it all to be quiet and he wanted everything to be private, but Dave Roberts in a press conference went on a whole thing saying how Ohtani was meeting with them, blah blah blah, how great it went. The GM of the Dodgers was mad. I mean, they thought that they might have just missed out on Ohtani because Roberts was just blabbering and yapping. But after this happened, reports came out that Ohtani was favored to sign with the Blue Jays. They also said that he was en route to Toronto yesterday to go ahead and sign a contract with the Blue Jays. Until we figured out he was not on any plane, he was not going to Toronto, and that he was at home in his house in California. This meant Shohei to the Dodgers was more than likely going to be happening, and it did. The Blue Jays are going to be making a big splash in free agency now that they missed out on Ohtani and Soto. We could possibly see a reunion with Matt Chapman. We could see a big pitcher signing. It's going to be really interesting to see what the Blue Jays actually do. Then for the Dodgers, there is one really concerning part about this contract. That part is the injury factor. Ohtani's already had 2 Tommy Johns in his career. I mean, he will not be able to pitch in 2024 because of it. So this leaves LA in a very weird spot. Do they think he will be able to pitch in the future throughout the majority of his contract? I mean, clearly they think that he can, but will he actually be able to? And will he be worth $700 million just to be a career DH? I'm not sure. The only other concerning thing is actually kind of a good thing, by the way. This concerning thing is, do they have enough capacity in the stadium? They have the biggest stadium in baseball, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. They had the #1 attendance in baseball last year. Getting Ohtani is only going to be boosting that, and tourists from across the world will be going to Dodgers games. Fans will pack that ballpark every game, and I'm confident that with ticket sales and merchandise alone, the Dodgers will make money off of Ohtani. Is the stadium big enough? I'm not sure really at all. Not just while he plays though, I mean they can make a lot of money off of him even after he retires. Merchandise will always be a hot topic for the Dodgers and Shohei. Plus the Dodgers also have two of the top 3 biggest contracts in baseball with the Ohtani and Mookie contract, but now we need results. LA has got to be the city that is always in the World Series. If they're not, then there's a big problem, and I believe that right now they have the brightest future in baseball. Not just because of the MLB talent, but also because of the minor league talent. These prospects are getting really close to being ready, and they will be up in 2024. It's a top 5 farm system in the entire sport. Third baseman Michael Busch is likely going to be ready next year. In AAA, he had 27 home runs. He had a .323 batting average. Busch should be a key piece of that lineup next year. He debuted, of course, last year, and he struggled very bad, but with another offseason ahead of him and spring training ahead of him, I think he should be ready by opening day. They're also depending on their top pitching prospects to perform. Gavin Stone. Stone struggled last year, but with time, he was slowly developing and he was getting better. They already had one prospect pan out with Bobby Miller last year, and if they could get another pitching prospect to pan out, that would be huge for the Dodgers. And also, what's going to be happening with Mike Trout? I mean, Trout is stranded on an island with the Angels with no talent around him, and more losing is on the way. The GM has already said that Trout will not be traded, and when Trout signed that extension with the Angels, I'm sure he thought he could win. He thought he could go on playoff runs, go to the World Series. Instead, Trout's career has been wasted, and it will continue to be wasted as long as he's on the Angels. It is Trout versus the world right now, and by the way, it's insane that Ohtani was actually able to announce that he was going to be going to the Dodgers. He posted it on Instagram, because usually an MLB insider figures this stuff out, and it comes out before the player can actually announce the news, but somehow it was kept private, and he announced it. As a Red Sox fan, I'm not prepared for free agency now, and I'm not sure that anyone can be. The salary of a big player like Blake Snell or Jordan Montgomery, it just went up millions and millions and millions of dollars. This is going to change baseball completely. Small markets won't be able to land a pitcher or a player in general to save their lives anymore, and teams like the Yankees and the Dodgers will be thriving. What do you guys think? Will the Dodgers make another move, or will they stay quiet with the rest of the offseason? I think they're going to have to make another move. I mean, you're already committing this much money to Ohtani. $70 million is a lot. If you want to continue to get better, you want to continue to even make it to a World Series, go and add pitching. Bring in Yamamoto, bring in Snell, do something. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already, and peace out.